physiology classification in our chapter. She works with MD Health. She's been in business for 3 years. Her partner is Gary, and they have numerous pets, dogs and cats and fish and so forth. Her hobbies include family, pets, Gracie Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, travel, food, swimming, dog walking, jigsaw puzzles, crafts and board games. She's lived in South Africa, and she's been in Melbourne for 17 years. Her previous job types include clinical myotherapist. Her burning desire, which is a bit of a tough question, but she's put it out there to own her own house. Something no one here knows about her is that she is a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Woman Empowerment Assistant Instructor. Her key to success is honesty, authenticity, and persistence. The most satisfying thing about her career is understanding and empowering her patients to look after themselves so they can fulfill their goals. And an interesting thing that I discovered in my one-to-one with Nicole is that they do numerous tests using the YMCA testing, heart rate, and they've had situations where they've detected heart and lung conditions that were undiagnosed previously. So she's exceptional at what she does. So as I've said, over to Nicole Davies. You have 10 minutes and looking forward to your presentation.
Okay. How's that looking?
Looking good, just maximize. Yeah, right. Beautiful.
Cool. Okay, morning everybody. So I just going to start off with all of us here at MD Health. We believe that everyone should be able to exercise and get the most from life, no matter how complicated the injuries or issues are. Some of our product lines that I want to talk about are the 13-week program that we do. So the reason we do that is because it's evidence-based to make those neurological changes in the body. And that's how we maintain the changes afterwards. So some of the programs include our clinical exercise, and that's where we're dealing with persistent pain, injuries, surgery, or for example. And then we've got our tailored strength and fitness. So that can be for some weight loss, also with our athletic and our sports performance. Then we've got a high intensity interval training. So that's also to do with our cardiac rehab. So that's that YMCA testing that Claudia was mentioning, that Helen was mentioning. So that we can do either on the bike, or we can also use some boxing mitts too. So whatever tickles your fancy in that sense, to be able to get that heart rate up. And then PregXercise is what I'm actually going to be talking about today. We also have started with the COVID process, our telehealth online, and we're going to be continuing that as clients need them. And then we've got our usual classes that run every 30 minutes or so, and that will vary on the size depending on the client's needs. And then we also do the casual physiotherapy and exercise physiology for those short-term pain complaints that clients have. A little bit more about what we do. So we do an initial free full body assessment, and that's a systematic tool that we use to find the cause, not just the symptoms of some of the pain problems. Following this, we make the recommendation on the class size, and that can vary, as I say, between 1 to 3 people depending on their needs. Develop and run a tailored program and treatment plan after that. And that is all based on clinical exercise to help the clients achieve their health goals. We are accredited exercise physiologists or physiotherapists, which means you can claim on your private health insurance, and also we can get those chronic disease management plans from our GPs. We also run regular reassessments and reviews. To start with, we do them every 7 weeks. That way, we make sure that clients are being addressed with their goals, as well as making sure that we're adjusting the program as they're progressing. Some of the guidelines for exercise during pregnancy, one of our main sources is the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. They recommend 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise on all or most days of the week. This incorporates strength training as well as other activities such as walking. Some of the benefits to the mother of regular exercise include the cardiovascular system, so a healthy heart, lean muscle mass and bone density, Some of the psychological health includes reduced rates of antenatal depression and anxiety, improved sleep quality, reduced physical discomfort, reduced gestational weight gain and associated complications. Some of those complications could be hypertension or gestational diabetes. So the average weight gain during pregnancy is usually between 10 to 14 kilos. It obviously varies between each female, but that's more or less what the body has to adjust with. Obviously, that increasing weight puts a lot more pressure to the joints and how the body has to accommodate the growing baby too. Pelvic girdle pain is one of the most common issues we see with pregnancy. Sometimes you are lucky enough to not have it, but a lot of the time you will experience it at some point in the pregnancy. So pelvic girdle provides the support for the abdomen and the organs of the lower pelvis. It also provides a dynamic link between the vertebral column and the lower limbs. Pelvic girdle pain is a specific form of lower back pain caused by either that sacroiliac joint. The sacroiliac joint is made up of bones of the pelvis, the associated ligaments, and the muscles. So that sacroiliac joint can have either that dysfunction through those structures or a reduced forced closure. And a forced closure is like the wind up of those structures. So that wind up is how things stay stable under tension while we're moving. We can also get pubic symphysis separation or inflammation. So that's more around that groin pain that can happen too. So the cause of pain, usually from the pelvic girdle pain, is from insufficient forced closure, as I mentioned before, from that SIJ. And this can lead to that muscle bracing or cramping. And that includes those gluteal muscles around the hips, some of your lower back muscles called your rectus spinae and your quadratus lumborum muscles. So we do some hands-on treatment for that to reduce the bracing, and that will help better activate the exercise, the muscles when we exercise to stabilize through that SIJ again. We also get some strain of the long dorsal ligament, and that can happen from long-term dysfunction. So that's just one of those ligaments in that SIJ construction there that gets a lot of load, and it's very pain sensitive. So when we start changing how sensitive that is, we can get more muscles working and more effective with our exercises. We can also get the shearing force on that pubic symphysis, which is secondary to that SIJ instability. So as I already mentioned, it's around that groin pain kind of area. So strengthening exercises are key to create that forced closure across that SIJ, as stability helps keep the strain off that long dorsal ligament and that pubic symphysis. So this can all be managed with tailored exercises done regularly. A case study I wanted to talk about is the lovely mum that's in a lot of my pictures. Her name is also Nicole. She's a lawyer, and she was 36 years old when we saw her for her third pregnancy. So she'd had 2 previous pregnancies, and both of them were with cesarean, and she'd planned to have cesarean for her third as well. She had a history of KX Pilates, and with KX Pilates, they don't actually do any exercises after the 16 weeks. So that meant that she obviously needed somewhere else to continue her tailored strength and conditioning program. Her goal was to keep active during her pregnancy, which obviously she couldn't do with the KX, so she came to see us. And then when she presented with those weak gluteal muscles, so supporting the hips, poor core control, and then also some of that shoulder blade instability. And all of those are very important for the posture and to be able to hold the body upright while we're going through the changes with pregnancy. We then looked at, she started then doing her clinical exercise sessions twice a week for the 30 minutes, all the way till the week up before birth. So she did really well with that. Some clients don't manage to do it that long, but others we've had there literally cancelling the session of the week of their birth. So they can vary and they can do quite well. And then looking after her birth, she managed to come back in 6 weeks afterwards. You have to have the minimum of the 6 weeks post a cesarean, just the way the body's got to heal after that. And she came with a typical dram. So that's when we have some separation of those ab muscles, very common in pregnancy. And what we do is very specific tailored exercises to help reduce that gap again so that we can improve that core control and posture through there. Now she's got great strength draws, back up to even stronger than she was before, and she's trying to keep up with the 3 boys. So a great referral for myself as well as my team is around the 25s of the pregnant professionals. They can usually exercise for themselves, but during pregnancy want someone who knows what they're doing. And then we can also help manage any pain complaints if they do come up. We're also looking at our 40+ professionals where they might have any injuries or medical conditions. They are unsure what to do in that sense, looking after them, and they might not also like the gym or intimidated by it. They also would like someone obviously to help them tailor their exercises so that they know what they're doing. Then we also have quite a big population of the 60+. So they're older adults with persistent pain or those medical conditions. They want to be able to enjoy their retirement life, look after the grandkids paying free, and they want to do, it's also part of social acting. We've actually got quite a few of the older population that do quite a bit of socializing that we've had to restrict with the COVID side of things and tell them to go outside. And as mentioned before, the door prize is for my BNI members or referrals, that FBA assessment, so that our full body systematic assessment with 4 sessions for free. And then my closing quote today, I couldn't decide between this one or the baby made me eat it. So I went with this one. So the sleeping baby is the new happy hour.
Well done. If we can come off mute and give Nicole a round of
Fantastic, Nicole.
applause. So very deep and very informative
Well done, Nicole.
presentation. Well done. Let's get some wonderful referrals out there for Nicole. Fantastic.